Hello Aquarius, I'm going to be doing your yearly 2019 reading for Sun, Moon, or Rising Aquarius. And funny thing is too, I'm also an Aquarius in my sun sign, so this will be pretty interesting doing this reading together. But anyway, I'm going to be doing a 12 card spread. 12 cards for 12 months, each card for each month for the whole year of 2019. And then I'm going to be doing a wrap-up center card for the lesson of the whole year of 2019 for Aquarius. Okay, and before we begin, I'll do an energy clearing. Okay, so let's start shuffling. Okay, well, what's ahead for us Aquarians? You know, we seem to always have unpredictable, sequences in our life, so it's always hard to say what could be coming up for us this year, because I feel like my years are always different. But let's see what's coming up for Aquarius. Right. Okay. All right. And then the last center card. Let's see here. It's going to be curious to see what we get for this year, because each sign's been having, they've been going through their own things, but a lot of signs have been having to let a lot of things go this year, so we'll see what's going to happen for us. Okay. All right, let's begin. So, the first card in January 2019 for Aquarius, we have Fulfillment of Wishes. And the green is the emotional realm. So as you can see, this man, he's basically works like the genie. Whatever wishes we have in mind in this year, any things that we desire to fulfill within the year, any goals, those wishes can be granted as long as we focus on what we want and harness your energy and really channel and ground into what you're really wishing to manifest in your life. And the more you focus on that coming into this new year, the more likely you are to fulfill and have those wishes granted and manifesting those wishes. But you have to believe to receive, all right? And it's interesting because we have the 9 on here on this card, and in numerology 9 symbolizes like completion, wrapping up of one things to start new things. So I think maybe you're coming into this year having completed a lot of work, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual, and now you're like creating space for what you desire to manifest in this year ahead. So that's what I get from that. And then in February, we have Rest and Rejuvenate. The blue is the intellectual realm. So definitely it's time to kind of slow down. If you've been doing a lot of work this past year of 2018, maybe you're meant to come into this year a little more slowly and resting and rejuvenating yourself, like really tuning in and taking care of your body and nurturing it, because after you've gone through so much physically or emotionally, It can be overbearing, and you get to a point where it's just time to rest, rejuvenate yourself, recharge yourself, really do some meditating alone, and just like asking yourself all the right questions, and also just like listening to your bodies in the areas where it's asking for some love and attention. So yeah, just to pay attention to that and getting that rest that you need. And then in April we have sacral chakra. So I feel, or actually March, sorry. I feel that, you know, you're coming into this year ready to spark up your creativity and you're driven. You could also be wanting to explore more in your sexuality, and maybe that could be with a partner or someone that you meet. But it definitely is showing that this is a good time for you to really charge up your creativity and work through it in ways that are going to help you create what you're envisioning for yourself this year. Because keywords for the sacral chakra are I want. So whatever it is you want right now, it's very important to stay focused on what you want so you can really make that space and time to manifest it. But you have to, you really have to stay dedicated this year if you want to manifest what you want. And the best ways too to balance this chakra when it's out of balance is like yoga, meditation, and just doing a lot of movement in your body. And that could be dancing or exercising or anything, just anything to kind of get that energy flowing to help balance that out. And then in April, we have rejoice and celebration. So maybe, you know, you're going to get to a point where you have a lot to celebrate about. For maybe you're getting some really good results in everything that you're creating and the work that you're doing, and now like you have a reason to celebrate with friends or family. Or, you know, like maybe there's something else that's coming up that's time to come together with family or friends about to celebrate. Could be a birthday, or could be like someone's graduation, or it could be like you getting a raise. It could be a lot of different things. But it seems like, you know, you're going to come together and you're really going to rejoice in how far you have come, and you're really going to love just taking that time to celebrate with your loved ones. Excuse me, I just had to sneeze. Yeah, I mean, and you're going to be in harmony with those around you, and you guys are going to look back and be like, wow, like we have really grown a lot this past year, and you know, and we have a lot to look forward to. So I'm just saying that you have a lot to like celebrate and be happy about, because I feel like you've probably made a lot of accomplishments in your life as of lately, and then in the near future. So that's just like perfect timing to just come together and really rejoice in that. And then in May we have truth. So in the tarot, this would be, let's see, Judgment. Yeah, so I think you're going to be going through all these transformations that are going to be really positive, but then there's also going to be some points where you need to sit alone with yourself and ask yourself, like, you know, be honest with yourself. What is it you need to see in the truth of where you're at now, and, you know, what feelings you have to sit with. What's the truth of the matter in your situation? What is it you got to work on? You know, because when you're undergoing a transformation, there's also some things you have to be honest with yourself about, and what you're dealing with within yourself. And so it's just like, it's very important to really weigh, you know, those factors in what you're kind of like, how should I put it? You know, and what you're judging in yourself that you know might need some work. Because when you have a huge year ahead of you and you have goals in mind, you got to be honest with yourself about how you're going to achieve those goals and what you're going to do to make things happen. So I just think it's really important to be honest with yourself this year of how you're going to make things happen for yourself in a positive way this year. And then in June we have disruption. In the tarot, this would be the Tower. So, and this card was reversed. Actually, yeah, it was reversed. I think there's some changes, some big changes that are coming and you're not really wanting to accept, like you're in denial of wanting these changes to happen, like you kind of almost want to resist these changes because maybe you might be perceiving them as negative, but really it's going to be for your better and for your just like for your overall health. And sometimes we get to a point where we're really like comfortable with how things have been, that when a huge shift, when universe tries to bring in a huge shift in our life to really shake things up, sometimes we have a hard time really wanting to accept that because maybe we are very fond of like how things are or were, and we're really, it's just causing a disruption within us where we're like resisting, and we're just like, you know, like, oh, I don't know if I'm really ready for that change. Like, can we just hold off on that? You know, us Aquarians, we can just be like, oh, let's hold off on that. Like, you know, because we really like to be in charge of what we want to do and how we like to control things in our life. And sometimes we're like the people to be like, oh, let's just hold off. Like, I don't want to sit with that yet and like really soak that in. But there's going to be a point where it's like source is just going to be like, no, like it's that time to change. It's that time to really sit with this. It's time to really see this for what it is. And even if it feels like it's causing disruption within you, it's got to be like something you're just going to have to accept and be honest with yourself, because you got the truth card right next to the disruption card. So it's like whatever change is happening, you really got to be honest with yourself on like, you know, why this is coming up and why you're at that point where, you know, you're going to need to really surrender to the flow of life and just accept like what you're getting and know that it's not meant to be taken as negative. It is meant to be positive. It's just all about how you're going to create, you know, how you're going to react and how you're going to move forward from these changes. But you got to find a way to like make peace with it and not like try to block it out so much and be in denial. You just kind of have to be honest with yourself and accept what is. And then in July, we have emotional withdrawal. So I think, yeah, you're working through something in your feelings that you're resisting, that you do not want to change. Maybe you're in this relationship that's getting to a point where it's becoming pretty toxic and you need to take some space from it, like a break. Even whether you guys are breaking up or just to take like an actual break and not separate, but just take a break from the person and get your own space to have this emotional withdrawal, like taking this alone time, because it seems like there is some kind of pain you're working through, Aquarius. There's something you're denying yourself of, like you're neglecting your actual well-being and your feelings, and now like source is like, okay, it's time to get alone time and really reflect over your feelings, because this man is like sitting near the water, he's reflecting, but he also is like needing some healing. He's like, you can tell, like he's asking source, hey, I need some help, I need some healing, like I'm surrendering to where I'm at and I'm just letting it happen, but now like I need to do some time with myself to nurture myself. And I think this will be a time for you to really nurture your feelings and really ask yourself, like, what do you need emotionally? What have you been deprived of emotionally, Aquarius? Has someone been draining you emotionally? Has there been something emotionally you have been in denial about that now it's time to really sit and ponder with alone and really go over, like, what you've went through emotionally in this year and maybe in the past years, and, like, what you need to work on this area so you can heal yourself, because healing is always a constant process. It never ends. But in order to like make peace with how life changes and how, you know, you're going through all this growth, you have to find a way to shed some of this pain and make space in yourself so healing can work its way in, you know, in each area that needs some mending while you continue to just keep growing. But so this could mean, you know, you're going to take space from this person so you can heal yourself alone, and then maybe you guys will come back together when you guys are in a more healed, you know, like balanced space. Or it's kind of signifying like you need to get away. You need to get away from this relationship that is causing you some emotional grief. And as hard as that is, like, you know, that's where the denial and this disruption comes in. Like maybe you don't want this like connection to change. Maybe you are like fond of it, but you're attached to this in some kind of unhealthy way that's really like not helping you expand yourself in ways where you're meant to grow, but you're resisting because maybe the ways you're meant to grow could be leading you away from this relationship. Or it could just be like you need to go about this relationship differently than you have in the past, and now you need to take some space to really go over everything that you're feeling, and they need to go over everything that they're feeling in like a separate space, and then you guys can come back together once you get some healing work done and really know like what needs to be fixed in the situation and what needs to change for things to get better. Whatever it is, or if you're single and you're not coupled, it's really just whatever you have gone through in your past that really needs your attention, so you can really see like, you know, what has really affected you and what has caused like maybe some patterns in you that you know like are no longer really helping you. And it's time to really sit with those feelings and go over like how you're gonna make yourself a better person and how you're gonna like rise above all this pain, you know, and find your healing. Whatever it is, it's going to be very important for you to get that emotional withdrawal time alone to reflect over everything and get some time to heal by yourself. Like a retreat. I call it a retreat. Like take some time to get a retreat in, and then you can come back to humanity and, you know, go about your life again. And then in August, we have base chakra. So keywords for your root chakra are basically I have. So really, Aquarius, you have what it takes to do this work, to fulfill what you have in your heart and in your mind of what you're set out to do this year, because, you know, the root chakra is all connected to home life, to work, the material realm, you know, being grounded in your body, being practical, and just being in your survival mode and in your instincts, and just, you know, having the security and the stable foundation for yourself. So maybe you're coming out of a time where you weren't feeling secure and stable, whether it was like you're not feeling secure and stable in your relationship, and now you're finally going to reach a point where you guys do create a strong foundation and you're stable, and it doesn't feel like you guys are on shaky ground, and that you're not like, you know, like not knowing where you guys stand. Instead, like you guys will be on the same, you'll be on the same page, and you'll like be a lot stronger in your stance from it. And it could also be signifying like, you know, you're gonna like fix these financial issues you could have been going through in the past, or like home life issues, and you're gonna create a really balanced, grounded life for yourself, and you're gonna be very like responsible in how you go about creating that and balancing that chakra. And the best way to balance this chakra, the root chakra, is through exercising and basically like same thing, yoga, and just like moving through all this like stuck energy to open up some more space. So whatever it is, Aquarius, like you're gonna reach a point of security and you're gonna be grounded, and you're gonna find a way to be stable in times that were maybe like unstable in your past. And you'll finally like feel like for once you're on solid ground again. So that's what I'm seeing from there. And then in September we have third eye chakra. Keywords for this is I see. So yeah, I think after going through all these phases, you're finally gonna see, you know, the trees for the forest, you know, seeing like everything for what it is that maybe you had been in denial about or maybe confused about. And now you're going to reach this point of clarity where you're like, aha, like, okay, this is why, you know, I needed to do this work. This is why, like, I had to go through this process. Like, I see now why, like, I had to go through all these things, right, to reach this awakening and, like, come back into my body and know, like, who I am again. Like, really know who I am, like, who I'm meant to be, and, like, you know, really utilizing my power. Because if you've went through some areas in your life in the past where you either gave away your power or you weren't nurturing your body or your life and career in ways that needed to be, or your relationship, you're going to reach a point where you're like, okay, like, I did have to go through some hard times and some really huge shifts and changes to finally like get to, and some shedding and some healing to get to this point of like really seeing the big picture. Because maybe at one point you were too zoomed in with what was going on, Aquarius, and your problems, or just with anything in your life that you weren't paying attention to. And now you're gonna like really see things in a very like expansive way where now you don't even have to question, you know, what your next steps are going to be or where you are. You're just going to know, and you're going to see everything in the way that you're meant to. And then in October, we have authority. In the tarot, this would be the Emperor. So I think you're going to rise above all this, like all these negative patterns you maybe had in the past, all these people that maybe like took you for granted or hurt you or used you or, you know, whatever, or like, or, you know, you're going to take authority and put yourself in control of your career because maybe, you know, you really weren't nurturing yourself financially and like going for a career you really wanted. And maybe now you're like, no, I'm going to rise above that. I'm not going to have a job I don't like where people mistreat me. I'm going to like be in my power because, you know, the Emperor, he's like the king, okay? Like he's the king of all kings. He knows what he wants and he can create what he wants because he's in control of having that because he has the power, right? And like, he's not gonna let anything stop him from getting what he wants. Like nobody can get in his way because he's in his masculine. Like he's the higher of, you know, like everybody else is not like energetic, like not even just energetically, but they're not even in that place that he's at because he's at a higher stage in life. And I think you're gonna finally reach a point where you're gonna get to this higher stage in your life where you're really going to control what's going to happen to you, who's going to be in your space, how you're going to be treated. You're going to say, like, no. You're going to set boundaries. You're going to be like, I know what I want. I'm creating this. I'm done putting up with this, like, this crap that I've dealt with in the past that was causing me all this emotional trauma. Like, no, I'm in control. I'm in my masculine, and I'm going to take the action to do what's right for me and what I want because I'm in that power, I'm in that authority, and I have the right to do that. And so I think you're finally going to reach a point where you're going to take control of your life, and you're not going to let anybody stop you from having that control because you're the one meant to be in your power, and nobody else is meant to take that from you, and you're not meant to take that away from yourself either. So again, Aquarius, just remember, like, you have what it takes to rise above what's been dragging you down and really, like, grasp yourself again and know that you have so much strength and will in you to go far in your life and to be in control of it. And then in November, we have prosperity. And the red is the material realm. There's also the number 1 on this card in numerology. 1 is symbolism of new beginnings, transformation, better things coming, Aquarius. Whatever you're setting out to do this year, you're going to be very prosperous in. Because see, like, whatever seeds you had planted in the past, they're going to grow and they're going to reap. And you're going to harvest everything that you had put so much love and energy and effort into. And it's just going to be, you're going to be very fruitful. Like, you're really going to like receive like everything back 10 times more than what you've had to put in the work this year. So you're going to be very successful. You're going to be, this could also be showing like you're going to be prosperous in your career and you're going to make a lot of money, or you're going to win the fruits of your labor. It can also signify you're going to be prosperous in your relationship after going through a really hard time. You guys are finally going to get to a point where all this hard work and pain and struggle and sweat was worth it, because now you guys are just like so fruitful and you're bearing so much from the relationship and it's giving back to both of you. And now, like, you know, you guys are like touching hands, you're coming together, like now, like, you're in the same place again and you guys are treating each other fairly, and like it just feels really good. It feels really good because you guys have come a long way and there's a lot coming out of that love that's being reaped out of that love. whether it's love or career or just like self-growth, whatever it is, you are going to be prosperous, Aquarius. A lot is going to come out of what you're putting in this work this year, internal and physical. And you really are going to reap a lot of rewards wrapping up at the end of this year, because you've worked really hard to get to this point. And Source is recognizing that, and they're going to gift you with with everything that you've been planting the seeds and growing and receiving, and then you're going to reach that point of harvest, and you're going to be very happy with the results. A lot to look forward to in those new beginnings ahead. And then in December, to wrap up the year, we have Wisdom. So in the tarot, this card would be the Hierophant. So I think after going through some really intense stages and really profound moments with yourself, at the end of this year in December, you're gonna gain so much wisdom, and you're gonna look back at all of your whole year and look at all the insight you gained out of this year and just be like, wow, I have seriously come a long way. As hard as this could have been to go through all these steps that you had to go through, it's giving you so much knowledge and wisdom and ability to integrate all these new lessons into your life, so you can come out a stronger and better person and more compassionate. Because when we accept the guidance we're given from Source, it can be utilized to inspire us to do greater things in our life, especially if we had to go through some hard lessons in the process. And, and it also reminds us how unlimited our potential really is when we allow, these growth phases to take shape. And it's confirming, maybe it's going to be time for you to reach out to other like-minded souls who've went through the same stage, and you're meant to share that space and that wisdom together and really connect with people who are in that same wavelength with you, who share that same wisdom, and you guys can encourage each other. It's all about having that right support, because he's looking at this family in the picture and they're supporting each other. And I think maybe that's what you're looking for, is possibly not Aquarians, but you might be at the end of the year, after going through all these things, you might be looking for connections with people that support you after maybe dealing with people who weren't. And you're finally going to reach, that community of what you're desiring in friendships or relationships or anything. And after being this student in this year of having to learn so much and get in so much information to really utilize it to what you're gonna do and create with it, then you're gonna eventually come out a wise and empowered person, and then you're gonna be the teacher. So you have a lot to share, whether you realize it or not, and you have a lot of wisdom within you from all this growth you've had to go through, and you're gonna be able to take that and teach others that you care for, that cross your path, how to be a better person, because Aquarians, we're very connected to the realm of being a humanitarian, and we care to look out for others after we've had to go through a really hard time. I think after going through all this, it's really going to teach you how to be a very valuable teacher to others who are going to go through or have gone through this similar stage. So I just think that's very important for you to sit with. And sorry guys, my phone's buzzing, but I'm just going to let that one go. And then to wrap up the year, for the center card of the year, we have 6 of crystals. And the keywords are synergy and gratitude. So, and you have the meerkats. So 6 of crystals, and the crystals in this deck symbolize in the tarot, the pentacles and the coins, and they're tied to the element of earth, and they symbolize manifestation, clarity, and abundance, livelihood, and materialism. So I think this is going to be connected to your career and what you're going to get from this whole lesson of all the work you've had to do. And I'm going to read this card to you. Let's see. So, peaceful and social meerkat watches out for his community. He's a creature of kinship who harvests success by working alongside others. Meerkat knows that by combining resources and ideas, balance can be maintained in the greater collective. Meerkat is your guide in establishing the spiritual power required to help guide people along their pathway. You are thoughtful and caring by nature, and even the smallest gesture of kindness can make a big difference. Work from the heart and merge talents to reach goals. Revel in the warmth of accomplishment that comes from producing things that inspire. Keywords: gratitude, generosity, synergy, balance, kindness, abundance, accomplishment. So yeah, Aquarius, I think after everything you've went through, you're going to learn how to take maybe the mistreatment you've went through in other areas of your life to do more for others and good, and maybe you're doing that in your career, and when you're doing what you're passionate about and setting your right intentions for what you want to create in your career, then you're going to come out very accomplished in that area, and you're going to be so like generous with the rewards, and you're going to be so abundant, and you're going to be very like thankful that you had to go through all these stages to get to where you're going to be at the end of the year, and it's really going to be for your benefit and for your growth process. So that's all I have for you, Aquarius, and just so you guys know, keep the faith. Whatever you go through, just know you're strong enough to get past it, and you will come back in your power, okay? So I hope you guys have a happy new year, and if you guys want to do a one-on-one reading with me, you can go to the description link box below and go to my Instagram, Mystic Yasmin, and you can send me a message. I hope you guys have a blessed day, and until next time, Aquarius.